We are now ready to start stitching our little doll project together, and I've started by combining my 3 blocks that I've stitched. So just place them right sides together and then just stitch 1/4 inch all 3 of them together. Before we can actually start with the quilt assembly, we need to place our snaps. I'm first going to start with this panel so we can do all the snaps together. This is your cover. Now this is an optional one. If you don't want to do it, by all means you can skip that. I just think it's a nice add-on to give the idea of opening a box and you have your brand new doll. So you have these 2 strips, and that goes there, and the other one that side, and then we've got our top. So you need to stitch these together, and you will notice that the ends, there is 1/4 inch extra there. So you will place it right sides together, and just with 1/4 inch just stitch the frame together. I'll quickly do that and I'll be back. With our frame assembled, you can just iron those seams, and I like to iron them open. Just give them a firm press. Now let's finish this front first, perhaps. This is your box frame, and you will need some plastic. Now I've got this plastic sheeting that you buy at table overlays. You buy this by the yard. So I just cut myself a block a little bit bigger than my frame is, to place it neatly on top. And I'm going to spray a little bit of 505 spray on the side of the frame so that it does not move while I'm busy stitching. You can see not a lot is needed. Placing my plastic, and then I'm just laying this over and pressing it down. If you don't want to use the plastic, especially for smaller children, you can use a see-through kind of fabric inside here, or maybe a netting. Trim off the extra plastic. There you can see your front cover. And I'm now only going to add some binding. Really easy. I just cut it 2.5 inches wide. Double folded. Just fold it once. And then I'm going to stitch it. I'm actually starting from the back. So I will be stitching it 1/4 inch in, folding it to the front, and then stitch it down again. Now just give it a little bit of a press, and then we're going to fold it to the front, turn it over, and I'm just going to stitch close to the edge there. I just need to change my my thread color to match this blue. Do be careful when ironing next to the plastic that you don't have very high heat, and also that you don't press too long onto the plastic, as it might melt. It does not melt easily, so just be careful. You can see I'm basically just holding the iron onto the fabric and not really onto the plastic. Okay, now turn these corners over. And you're now going to stitch, folding it and stitching it down right there on the edge. I'm folding my mitered corners as I go along. And we're all done with this front cover. Just need to add our snaps. If you feel it's wrinkly and you want to iron it, just place another piece of fabric on top, and then you can give it with a cool iron just a slight over brush, just to make it lay nice and flat. Let's move on now to make our quilt. This is what your boxed little doll would look like before we do the quilt. But we first need to add our snaps that goes onto the doll before we can start with assembly. Now I'm using my trusty cam snap machine, and I'm going to choose snaps that won't stand out too much on the doll. When adding your snaps, I suggest that you keep the same snap part always from the bottom. So for instance, if you know you're going to press something onto this, then use the same part of your snap. And just find you another one. You can see you've got two parts. You've got your rounded part, and then you've got one that's a little bump that stands up. So this one presses onto that one. So you need to use, for example, only this one on the doll, so you know everything that will attach to her will be able to attach, and then on the rest you will only use these. Sometimes it will happen that you will need to mix, so that's why it's important to, as you put in your snaps, to attach whatever you wanted, to make sure that you place the right one at the right area. So I'm going to place only these with a little nip onto the doll itself. And I've already got my die in my machine. I'm just going to take out a few here to make it a little bit quicker. And I've got this sharp little point to just make holes in my fabric where I want them. So I'm first of all going to line up my doll where I want it to sit. So if you look through the clear plastic, you can see where she sits, and make sure that your block is kind of centered and everything is laying over. And then you can decide where you want your snap. So I will first place my snaps onto my cover, and then I will put them onto the doll. But for me to be able to press them in here, I would need the round part if I'm going to do this one first. So let's just change this die out quickly. And I think I'm going to use the blue ones. Sorry folks, this is a little bit of planning as you go stage. Make sure you've got a good selection of colors for your snaps. They're really not expensive at all. And where you decide to make your hole, just make sure that if I place a snap there and you look underneath, that it will actually catch the doll. Far enough as well, because remember we will be stitching on that quarter seam allowance. So the snap needs to go a little bit inward. So I think I'm going to place one on this corner here, and I'm going to take my quilt and go through the doll and the cover at this stage. Then I'm taking a pointy bit, going now only through the top, just pressing it firmly in there, and I'm going to place in the other part. Flip this over and make sure I give it a good press. And there it goes. I'm going to do all 4 corners. What you can do is do this one first and then do the next one if you want as well. We are done adding the snaps on these. You can do on the sides as well if you wish. I'm doing only 4. I feel that's plenty. So these you can take off when they're ready to play with the doll. Or place back when they're done. What's also nice about this is they can use this as a draw to draw on as well, with just wash off markers. So if they want to draw different things, then this plastic is quite nice for that as well. So it's quite versatile. I'm going to place this cover separate now, as we're totally done with that. We need now to know where to place the snaps onto our doll. Now if you turn it to the back, you see all these little dots that were stitched. Now those are all suggested placements for the different garments. If you want to place them at different areas, I will show you how to do that. So let's first get all our garments and our accessories. Okay, I've got everything I've stitched. So for the shoes, for example, if you place your shoe where you want it, you can always decide, okay, where is the best place to make a little snap. Now at the moment we've got it around here to make sure that it works with the shoe as well. So you need to actually place all your shoes on top of each other if you want to do not want to use my dots. Then place all shoes on top of one another and decide on one common, so you don't have 4 or 5 different snaps. You only need one for all 3 pairs of shoes. So then you can decide, okay, I'm going to place it there or wherever you want to place it. For me, it made sense to have it as a little button there on that shoe, and therefore if you turn it to the back, you'll see there is one hole there. So you will first do the doll. I'm just going to use that I've marked, and right in the center of that circle I'm going to make my hole. And remember, we're using only these pointy snaps. this one side. And there is my first button in place. And I'll do this side as well. So for the shoes, we are all ready. We will in a moment do the ones on the shoes. So I'm just going to put all shoes separate for now. That is what we need for the for attaching the shoes. Now let's do the shirts, for example. You can again place your shirt and decide where you want your buttons. So say for example you want to add something else, and you can think ahead if you'd like. I try to think ahead as best as possible because I will be making more garments and more accessories for the doll in future, which will be sold separately. So we will try and make use of the same buttons every time. So what I've done with this one is I've decided to make my little buttons, 3 buttons there, and 1 at the bottom, so that it looks like little buttons on her dress. And all 3 shirts works in the same method. I've actually stitched this one just twice, just for two different garments. So they all will work if you place your buttons on those 3 dots. So it's those 3. So I'll make a hole through. All 3 of them. And if you look at the back of the shirts, I already marked for you. You can see them shining through there, the 3 little holes there, and they will correspond in the precise spot where they need to. So if you would not like to plan your own where you want your snaps to be, by all means you can go ahead and add snaps then to all of these circles that I have placed for you onto the doll. I will do that quickly and I'll be back on camera when we will start adding the snaps to the clothes then. Coming up here to the last one on our doll. Now these are all the suggested markings for the garments I've planned. You can also set some earrings if you would like to. I've got this little set of setting pills. This is a pill setting machine with the little pills. So you can decide on a color for her earrings that you want. I think I'm just going to make them white for today. Little pearly ones. And you've got these little grommets that goes at the bottom. You just take one of the hooks and you drop it in the hole at the bottom with the prong standing up. And then you decide where you want your pill to be. You don't need to press a hole. So I'm just bringing my earring up where I want it, and then just holding it flat. I'll start pressing slowly, and then as hard as you can. Just press down, and then you see your earring is all set. So I'll do the other side as well. So there we have little earrings on our doll, firmly attached. At the back it looks like that, with just a little pin standing out. And our doll side is ready now for assembly of the quilt. But I think while we have the cam snap machine out, let's do all the garments and everything, so you can see how that works as well. I'll start with this hairpiece. Now if you look at the back, those circles that stitched first, those are your markings for going onto your, that will correspond with one of those. So I'm just going to use my hole tool again. So I'm making 2 holes there, and I think I'm going to use these brown ones on this. And remember, now we need the other die, because we don't need to use those same ones. You make sure that you use the round ones for going into the hair there. And again, at this moment we're placing the flat part from the top, because it's going to press flat like that. And you can double check and make sure that it goes in, and that one will correspond. And there you go, we've got our first hairpiece. Now on some of these, your snaps might have a dual purpose, so they would need to attach to the doll, and then something else would need to attach to that. So for those, we are using these double-sided pins. They look a little bit different. They've got a pokey, and then they also got another pop-up in that center. That is so that you can layer them up. So I would suggest using these then for those areas. And again, just make sure the other part that you put on, that it can actually clip onto the hair. So we need a rounded part here at the back. Now you can see it will be able to snap in that area, but you will be able to snap on something else at the top. And there you can see you can snap on your hair, and we will be able to attach something else there as well. And folks, if you decide, for example, this one, I wanted to add something there as well, by all means you can remove those and just replace them with double-sideds. I'm just going to add the crown pieces there. So I will just see where I want my crown, and I don't need to attach it to the doll at this stage because I already made the holes here. So just see where you would like your crown to sit, if it's on this hair piece, and then just poke your holes through there to the back, and there to the back. And we don't need the double-sided here because they're not pressing actually down onto that, so you can just use ones from the bottom. And there's our hair, and our placement is ready for attaching the crown. Okay folks, I'm going to go ahead and attach all my snaps quickly off camera, and I will be back when I'm done. All our snaps are in place on all the garments, so you can already see. Let's quickly dress a few so you can see what it would look like. We're adding a little dress, and we're adding and we might decide, let's give her some pigtails. See, it's as simple as snapping it on wherever you want it, all different parts. And you can add a little crown for her. And why not add a little belt? I think for this one I would need to add more. I think I forgot 2 holes. Yes, I did. There's 2 on the shirt that needs to go there for the belt. So on all of your shirts you can add, on the short shirts you can add the belt part there. So I will just quickly add those, and then, but that is the look that you would end up with. Let's try another garment. Denim to go with, and we can have a little flower on the one hand and maybe a bracelet on the other hand. So folks, here you can see how you can really mix and match and just be creative in playing. So we will go ahead and finish the quilt now. That's our next part, and then I'll show you how to assemble the book. Okay, here we are to our bare block again. So we're going to add our border pieces now to this quilt, but I'm first going to place it onto a larger piece of backing. I'm going to attach my back as I add my borders. So I'm placing my back fabric first, and then I'll add my batting. And I'm just going to lift half up, spray a little 505, and then do the other half. And bring that down. And then I'm going to take my doll, spray the back with 505. And I'm going to place it more or less in the center of my block. You will notice that I've got about 5 or 6 inches on either side extra. That is to attach our borders. Now I've got this 1 inch border that I will place there and stitch with a 1/4 inch through all layers. And I'm just going to iron these seams quickly. And we'll be attaching our second border around now. I'm just going to press these borders flat. I normally do this on my big iron, but I would like to show you on camera how it's done. So after you pressed, we can now square off the quilt. Now squaring off a quilt means that we are cutting it square. I am measuring from the top where my closest line is, where everything fits in, and it looks to be like about 1.5 inches So I'm just lining up my ruler and then I'm just trimming off the extra. And I'm doing that all around my quilt. And you can now attach your binding and your quilt will be done. So I'm going to do the binding quickly and I'll be back when that is done. Back here at the cutting table, I'll just show you quickly the mini quilt is all finished. The back is just plain. You can use a nice print fabric on the back if you want. You can even add some handles on this, folks, and have them carry it like a little basket. So be creative and see how you can make this into a very functional travel project. Now let's do our booklet now, so to hold all our garments. If you did not want to stitch the booklet, you can make a little box, like I say, add some handles onto this quilt. Just place everything in the middle and then you can just make something like that if you wish. So they can carry it around. So if you don't want to do a lot of stitching, you can do something like that. These blocks doesn't stitch very long. I'll just show you. These are the individual blocks. Now remember, for the big quilt, we used this as our centerpiece, and then we had these blocks surrounded. And then we made a quilt like that, so the blanket is actually everything all in one. But for a travel option, I thought, okay, let's give you an idea how to make this into a booklet. So I've stitched all of the sections and I've punched holes in the top, and I just added these grommets to it so that I can add some rings to make it in a book form. Now for the drawer covers, remember the big quilt I had on top of each of these, I had another one of these so that it looks like a little cupboard with drawers on. For this one, I only stitched 2 of these, so it saved a lot of time. One will be my book front and one will be my back of my book. Now, by all means, you can add your little snap flower to the front, which I will do. I think it just adds that little bit of extra flair to it. So I kind of like these red ones. Just want to see where's the other red one. Well, I might just add one to the front and not to the back. So I think I'm going to go with that little red one. So I'm just quickly going to add a snap in there. But apart from that, we would need to have our snaps. Now you will notice this one is blank on this side because it's my front. And then I'm going to have a blank match a blank like that. And then I'm going to have hair with a blank and then turn this one again so it's blank together. So my thinking is, if I make more garments and more hair accessories and all that, then I can use this as a pocket. So I'm first going to attach all my snaps so that I can place my hair where it needs to be. So I will do that first, and then what I'll do is I will sew these two together only on the sides so that it creates a pocket. So two of them together to create one pocket then. So let's first do all the snaps. Now again, it's very easy because I've already, as I've shown you, make sure you use a shiny through fabric for the back so you can see where the rings goes on top. And let me grab my snap machine and my snaps. Let's just see what dye I've got in here. Because remember now, we want the hair to attach here. So if I look at the hair piece, I've got the round ones up here, so I need the pop-up ones. So then I would need this die with a big hole so that one can snap in there. And from the back, I'm going to look for that shape. I'm going to do these two only. And I'm going to poke my holes through. And I'm going to do this one at the same time. Then I'm adding one of these to the wrong side. And my pop-up button is already inside the machine, so I'm just placing this in there and pressing down. And there you can see the snaps in place, so I can now take my hair and attach it, and it's ready to be stitched. So that one will go on top with the blanks together, with the hair there, that side, and we can just sew on the side. And I'm just going to go on the inside of my satin stitch. I will just sew the two of them together, but only on the sides. You don't need to do here because the rings will be attached there, and you want this as an open pocket. If you want your pockets to stay together, by all means you can add a little snap here. Maybe that's a good idea to do as well. Yeah. I will just make sure that all my snaps are in the correct, or in the same spot, so they correspond. I don't want them to miss a line. So maybe find your center point of your block and then make a little mark there for yourself. I've just cut a piece of stabilizer, and I'm just going to mark it on the sides. I'll just use my rotary cutter now. I'm going to cut my piece of stabilizer the same as my block. And on that side as well. Okay. Now I can fold this in half. And I got my center point there. And I can decide how far in I want my snap to go. And I've got this little handy, this is actually a scrapbooking tool. It can punch different holes and it can attach your little grommets like these and such. So I'll just take this and I will create my hole where I want it. Now I can use this as my guide, place it on top there, and then make a mark or make my hole exactly on the same spot every time. So that's my front. Let's make a hole for our little flower. So this is just playing with snaps, folks. Everything you want you can attach with your snaps. I've got a round one there, so I need a pokey one here. And now we can attach the flower and it will stay in place. So this is our first page done. You can move on to the next page. Now this one, your book will browse like this. Okay. And we're going to sew up those sides. So this one needs a little clip there as well. But I'm first going to add all my hair pieces. If you can't see it through, I think I used a too light thread there. You can just place the hair on top. And then decide which ones you want to use. I've got 2 here, so you can use any of these. So I'm just looking underneath and checking where it needs to be, and then I've poked my hole through. And I see that actually shines through from this side, so which is great. Just going to poke it there. And this again needs to be, you can have a look at the back, you have for the round ones, so you need to poke your one up here. How I try and remember it is anything that goes from the bottom needs the head that stands up, and everything that goes to that needs to press down needs to be round. You can have it the other way around, does not really matter. But it's just so that you can keep it uniform. Now let me go through these quickly and add all the snaps, and I'll be back when that is done. Friends, while I'm done with the book, I'm busy assembling. As you can see, we've added all the snaps. I've got 2 together to form a little pocket. So if you have extra pieces, then you can add them in there, and they will browse through the book like so. So for instance, I made an extra one of these shirts, so I can just place my extra piece inside. So if you decide to make more colors of a design, then you just add them into the pocket. This is very simple. It's just 2 of the sheets, and I've just stitched them up on the sides, and I've added a snap to close it up. Now, because I couldn't find D-rings big enough in our little town to go through this, and I do suggest the D-ring, so the straight edge is there and the ring side is here. So if you can find D-rings, that would be a good idea to use. But I just decided to make my own custom hinge here. This way I can also, when I want to expand, I can just make these a little bit longer. So let's see what I did. I just used a piece of cord, and I tied a nice big knot at the end. Just burn your edge so it doesn't unravel. And I took a bead and I simply slide the bead through. And then this goes through the holes. Now I'm just using my tweezers to just push it through. It's much easier that way. And once you've got all 3 in place, I'm going to turn it upside down. Just shake it a little bit so everything goes in place, and align your pages nicely. And then you can add another bead on this side. I'm just first burning my edge. Just be careful, it's quite hot. And I'm just going to thread this through. And I'm going to make a knot on this side as well. And you can decide how loose you want your book, this way or whatever you want to do. But just make sure that your knot is tight enough or big enough so your bead does not pull through. If you feel it's not big enough, just make another one on top of that one. And once you're happy, then you can cut off this piece. And remember again to burn the edge. Let's first attach the others as well. These are just wooden beads that are painted. And I think they actually give a very nice feel to this. I like the added beads. It immediately made me think that one can actually make a beaded necklace, and on the ends you have a little bit of fabric maybe, and then attach a cam snap, and you can add cam snaps here to hang her necklace if you wish. This is such a playful set. You can do so much with it. You can tell I'm excited. While I'm busy assembling, I'm thinking of all the possibilities and everything you will be able to add. And I can already see many other ideas popping up in my head. Okay, once I'm happy with that, it's laying nice and flat, I can go ahead and cut off these little bits. And I'm just going to take the flame and just gently burn it. Feels like my gas is all done. So, careful not to burn your hands. And once done, your book is ready. Now you can optional extra as well, which I might do because it flops open now, is I would add another snap maybe just on this side, and maybe do a little book closure like this so that the book stays closed, and maybe put a little handle on here so they can actually carry it on this as well. So maybe make it a little bit longer and make it like a carry handle, and same time it's keeping the book closed. So friends, I hope you will enjoy this set as much as I did. I'm having loads of fun making this project. I feel it's such a great project in the sense of it's educational, but it's fun. Not only do kids learn hand-eye coordination with lining up the buttons and pressing them down, they're also learning about textures. You can use different textures on the garments, and color combinations, how to match up colors. And then of course the basics of where's my ears, where's my eyes, where's my mouth, and what goes where. Does pants goes there? No, it does not. It goes at the bottom. So it's all a learning experience, educational experience, and all the way the kids are having fun while they're doing this. So I'm super excited about this project. I hope you are as well. And I hope to see many of these popping up with different ideas. If you have other ideas for garments, or you have ideas for a different doll maybe, or maybe something for the boys as well. I was already thinking about maybe something construction wise where they build a truck or something. But send me your ideas. I'm always willing to listen and see what I can do about that. I would love to make something for boys as well. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I know it's a lengthy one, being a few parts of it. It does not stitch long. It just takes some time to show you all the little bits, and I really wanted to do a tutorial on every little piece basically, to help you along the way. It's really easy. It's easy enough for beginners to do. So I urge you to get started. Do a simple version if you like. Skip some of the steps if the stitching is way too long for you, like the background quilting and such. By all means, you can customize as you like. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you are notified when we do add clothes. We will try and make a video tutorial as we release them. If not, we will pop a note to tell you when something else is released. So please subscribe to the newsletter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and remember to tick that little bell so you are notified whenever we add new designs. Thank you so very much. We appreciate your business. Thank you. Bye.